Beholding the legions of dark gods reveals a terrifying spectacle, chaos incarnate amidst destruction and fury. These forces march beneath menacing symbols, their bloodthirsty cries echo as they brandish blazing weapons in relentless pursuit of conquest. Among them, the legions of Zincht stomp with a flickering, chaotic flame, their grotesque forms gibbering and constantly shifting, driven by endless mutability. Meanwhile, Nurgle's followers stagger forward, their corrupting presence radiating a sickly gleam, embodying decay and relentless contagion as they march through storms of disease-laden flies. In stark contrast, the followers of Slaanesh glide with deceptive elegance, shrouded in scented clouds and dazzling illusions that stir desire and yearning in mortals, often causing both fascination and dread. Across the galaxy, Korn is revered as the blood god, the lord of war and chaos, an unyielding force of destruction. Known by countless titles, he reigns as the patron of fighters, whether they worship him directly or not, fueling the chaos of combat, hatred, and violence that scars civilizations. His demonic embodiments embody his furious rage, territorial dominance, unchecked violence, and raw martial power. Instinctual drives, aggression, anger, and the quest for dominance are fundamental to many species, shaping their societies, whether they claim to have transcended barbarity or not. Even advanced interstellar empires often find themselves embroiled in conflicts, whether to defend their territories or to seek new conquests. Champions battle for their lords, for honor or faith. Warriors defend their homes, and assassinates strike from shadows. Military generals lead vast armies in campaigns of expansion, all contributing to the cycle of violence feeding into the warp. Every act of rage, hostility, or violence adds to this cosmic reservoir, empowering the entity humanity calls Korn. For countless civilizations across the galaxy and spanning thousands of years, worship of Korn has been commonplace. He is seen as a source of strength and a catalyst for conquest, attracting followers eager for power or driven by primal rage. Many cultures, both primitive and highly advanced, have turned to Korn as they sought martial excellence or succored their violent impulses. Entire empires have risen and fallen in devotion to the blood god, often ending in catastrophic conflict and great loss of life. Some savage species, drawn by Korn's raw strength, have become brutal and feral, while others, once noble and sophisticated, were corrupted by their pursuit of martial mastery. Throughout history, numerous human societies have venerated Korn, either secretly within imperial frameworks or openly on worlds long separated from the ecclesiarchy's influence. On the forsaken planet Corellin II, he is worshipped as Kar, the Red Hound, a figure feared and revered within the blood sect of the Reaving. In the grim universe of the Endless War, the factions of the Skinner's Gang silently honor a fearsome figure known simply as the Bladesman, whose reputation among their warriors is marked by the grisly pyramids of skulls they stack in victory. Meanwhile, the self-styled prophets of fury revere him as the Skull Star, whose furious stare directs their slaughter fleets toward new battlegrounds, fueling their savage campaigns. Across the galaxy, Korn's image is portrayed in countless forms, etched in primitive cave paintings, mosaics crafted from brass and bone, or displayed on the banners of renegade space marines who venerate him as the dread world eaters chief among them. Despite the varied cultures and distant worlds, certain aspects of Korn's depiction remain consistent and unmistakable. He is often envisioned as a towering warrior, his head snarling like a hound, clad in armor forged from brass and tarnished iron, bellowing for bloodshed. Typically seated upon a brass throne, he's portrayed atop a vast mountain of skulls, each one representing a victory claimed by his followers. These devotees believe that every coveted head adds to their sacred pile and that one day their own skulls will lie among the rest. Korn's images invariably include a dread weapon, most frequently a massive two-handed blade, an axe, or an unusual melee weapon, each adapted to local customs yet equally terrifying. These blades are described as colossal, capable of tearing through reality itself with a single swing, a symbol of destructive power that's been called the bringer of war, the maker of destruction, and the end of all things. All who honor Korn reject deception and loathe sorcery and psychic influence. His true altar is the battlefield, and his sacred act is the endless storm of flowing blood. His favor is reserved for those who fight with unrestrained brutality, even turning their blades against their own allies if necessary. Such slaughter is viewed as the ultimate expression of understanding Korn's essence, where any source of bloodshed suffices so long as it flows. When Korn's demons surge forth from the warp, they are unmistakably embodiments of his unquenchable rage. Composed of living brass, sinew, and blood-soaked bone, they personify his boundless fury and relentless drive for combat. Their brass horns blare to herald their arrival, their cacophonous clamors ripping through the skies like thunder, spreading chaos across Vox networks and shattering the peace with deafening roar. The earth shudders as chasms gape wide, spewing boiling blood and scattering remnants of skulls, tearing asunder the fabric of reality. Bright, fiery light erupts from within these horrors, swirling with blood-red mist that thickens with the scent of copper, alive with shadowy figures and eyes burning like embers. Warriors caught in the grip of fury feel sudden, overwhelming rage seize them, transforming the battlefield into a maelstrom of unrelenting violence. Discipline and training often disintegrate when individuals are overcome by an inexplicable urge to turn their weapons against trusted allies they have known and valued for years. The sky darkens with swirling ash, or erupts with flames rippling through boiling clouds, signaling the chaos to come. Suddenly, sinister entities descend upon their victims like an unstoppable avalanche as bloodstains spread across the battlefield, and monstrous symbols of hatred hiss and hack with ferocious brutality. Armed with hellish blades, these horrors demonstrate terrifying savagery and incredible skill, tearing through enemies with every strike, severing heads and leaving behind lakes of blood that soak the ground. Yet more of these dreadful figures claw their way up from beneath the surface, charging once again into the fray, relentless and unyielding. Massive armored juggernauts, termed blood crushers, smash through obstacles with unrelenting fury, shrugging off firepower that could obliterate even the largest military vehicles. Skull-shaped cannons rattle into place, unleashing their deadly load, amidst a deafening chorus of screams from tormented souls, as shells explode in grim blasts of brimstone and fire. Even as warriors are decimated and the battlefield drips with gore, a distinct terror clings to the most formidable of foes, the bloodthirsters. These are the supreme champions of chaos deities, towering giants clad in elaborate armor, their vast leathery wings draped over them as they loom overhead. They are the embodiments of damnation, instilling fear even in the bravest enemies at the mere sight of their gaze. When bloodthirsters strike with their massive blazing weapons, even the strongest armor can be torn asunder. Their existence is a chaos of shifting concepts: sorcery, destiny, mutation, prophecy, and change, all considered within the realm of Zincht, the chaos god of transformation. Zincht presides over an endless multiplicity of forces, making it a fitting patron for this wild disorder. Mortals often succumb to his whispered temptations, especially those living in bleak underhive slums, bonded to oppressive manufactorums, or mutated from birth, forced to hide amidst a society that despises them. In their hearts, humans yearn for change, longing to alter their bleak circumstances. Over time, this desire can evolve into a craving for the power to bring about that change, whether driven by altruism, such as providing for a starving family, or by more selfish motives like vengeance or ambition. A cruel overseer seeking dominance or a criminal desperate for success might also be consumed by such longing. These fervent wishes for transformation create openings that dark, psychic entities, demons, exploiting the most potent minds among mortals, are able to breach from the warp. Such desires can open spiritual gateways, allowing these entities to whisper into dreams, persuade the lost and desperate, and manipulate their will. Throughout the universe, many are led into dangerous cults devoted to the architect of fate, whose influence quickly claims their souls. It is not only the oppressed who seek change. Even the most powerful individuals, whether nobles or planetary governors, sometimes discover the limits of their understanding and their capacity to manipulate the galaxy to their desires. These leaders long to outthink and outmaneuver rivals or to enhance the lives of those they serve. Scholars and mighty sorcerers thirst for knowledge beyond reach, eager to unlock forbidden secrets, regardless of whether their motives are noble or sinister. This insatiable hunger for understanding ultimately draws them into the grasp of the architect, who, through his agents, generals, priests, inquisitors, and prophets, ensnares all who seek to access such perilous lore. No matter the reason for their devotion or their intent, every mortal race's actions inadvertently serve the goals of Zincht. All those who scheme, deceive, or seek arcane knowledge, whether inscribing or studying forbidden texts, are unwitting worshippers of the architect of fate. His countless followers are scattered across the galaxy. Some form secret cults hidden in ancient libraries or lurking in wilderness realms. Others blend into society as manipulative agents or operate covertly in rebel bands. Notable among them are the cults of the Thousand Sons and the demon Primarch Magnus the Red, illustrating the wide array of loyalists. It is easy to see why so many pledge themselves to the architect. His demon whispers secrets into his followers' minds, insights impossible to gain through ordinary means, and bestows forbidden lore that renders them extraordinarily powerful. His champions, mortal or otherwise, often undergo spectacular transformations, what are seen as divine blessings, such as coiling tentacles, the ability to breathe warp flame, or scales harder than bonded ceramic. They might develop wings or hypnotic gazes, and their minds become labyrinthine and inhuman, manifesting blessings unique to their devotion. Along with these physical enhancements, worshippers gain formidable arcane abilities. They can unleash destructive flames, peer into maddening visions of the future, or warp the very fabric of space itself. Such powers are not shared lightly. They are granted by Zincht, the master of intricate, galaxy-spanning schemes, whose plans are so complex that only he can grasp their full scope. Every mortal servant, regardless of their strength, is merely a pawn in an impossibly elaborate machine aimed at ensuring the ultimate victory of the architect. Those ensnared in this eternal web find their existence worse than before, trapped in a web of manipulation and control. They have essentially surrendered their souls, often becoming nothing more than conduits of power or screaming conduits within the vast cosmic design, their destinies sealed by the inscrutable intentions of Zincht. Throughout history, portrayals of Zincht's demonic legions have been as varied as the stars in the night sky. Some imagine him as a luminous entity, blazing with enlightenment, or as a constellation of all-seeing eyes. Others see him as an intricate puppet master, pulling the strings of destiny from afar. Often he is depicted as a towering figure with a sunken visage embedded deep in his chest, his skin writhing with countless faces that mock, deceive, and contradict. Great horns curl from his head, crackling with arcane fire, while swirling energies of sorcery and fractured realities circle him. Legends say he can observe the fate and schemes of any mortal at any moment in time, hearing their thoughts, hopes, and plans within his vast mind. Among these visions, some believe Zincht's realm within the warp manifests as a colossal crystalline labyrinth, a maze filled with strange libraries, mirror worlds, and fractal corridors of infernal chaos. This endless, ever-changing expanse is said to pulse with the fires of transformation, expanding as Zincht's power grows. In the records of the Ordo Malus, numerous accounts describe fragments of this labyrinth ripping through the fabric of reality during apocalyptic demon incursions. Dark rumors and visions whisper that at its depths lies the impossible fortress, hidden within his secret library, where Zincht schemes undetected. All across the universe, entire worlds and vast regions of space are either swallowed or radically altered by the shifting, wondrous mass of the crystal labyrinth. From its shimmering depths, legions of demons known for their bizarre and unsettling forms spill into real space. These demons reflect their patron's chaotic nature, with the most formidable being the Lords of Change. These mighty entities appear as avian horrors, adorned with kaleidoscopic wings, flowing robes, and eyes like gateways into the abyss. They embody Zincht's limitless cunning, masters of illusion and deceit, wielding powers that induce mutation and chaos. Their presence and sorcery eclipse even the most powerful mortals, making them the generals of his demonic host and the archmages of his infernal cabals. Many of these lords of change operate through subtle manipulation, possessing influential beings or disguising themselves as demigods to sway primitive civilizations, guiding or corrupting them in secret. The closest infantry to the demonic legions are the horrors, strange humanoid demons with rubbery, pliable bodies and faces sewn into their chests. With ragged flesh and gangling limbs ending in wicked talons or grotesque fungus-like digits, they surge toward their enemies, shimmering with unpredictable madness. In sum, Zincht's armies are a dazzling chaos of shape-shifting beings and labyrinthine mysteries, embodying the relentless force of change, deception, and chaos that he wields across the cosmos. In the chaos of war, monstrous entities clash, their forms tumbling and intertwining as they emit horrific cacophonous sounds, guttural roars and shrill screams ringing through the air. Among these horrors are manifestations of Zincht's power, each wielding formidable sorcerous abilities capable of unleashing mutating flames that twist and burn their prey. When a pink horror is slain, it doesn't vanish. Instead, it fragments into two smaller blue horrors that chatter and gurgle with malevolent spite, relentlessly attacking their victims. Even lesser beings like brimstone horrors swarm as fiery imps of living warp flame, surrounding foes and engulfing them in crawling fire. Amidst the struggle, warriors attempt to hold back the relentless tide of sorcery and madness, but increasingly strange forces surge from all directions. Screamers, blade-wielding, screeching entities, slash through the air, while sinuous flamers of Zincht flow across the battlefield, spewing tongues of mutating warp fire from countless gaping maws. With every passing moment, the victims of these demons are twisted and destroyed, their bodies and minds shattered, leaving behind only pleading eyes and agonized screams amidst swirling masses of corrupted flesh. At the heart of this chaos stands Nurgle, the god of decay and plague. Depicted as a massive leprous abomination, a bloated, diseased mountain of corrupt flesh, Nurgle exudes an overwhelming miasma of rot and disease, swirling with pestilent flies and pustulent sores. He is said to preside over his noxious cauldron, delighting in brewing contagions that unleash nightmarish plagues upon the universe. While it may seem strange that some seek to worship such a destructive force, Nurgle's influence is rooted in the universal realities of decay, disease, and entropy, which relentlessly afflict civilizations. Few mortals willingly pay homage to Nurgle, for his realm is one of suffering and disfigurement, a domain of supernatural maladies, parasitic demons, and mutated horrors. Yet, for many worlds suffering from famine, plague, and the collapse of order, Nurgle's presence becomes inescapable. Crop failures, disease-ridden hospitals, overcrowded shelters, and war-torn wastelands become breeding grounds for relentless infection as parasites and biological horrors flourish amidst contaminated ruins. Mortals, faced with their inevitable mortality, cling to faith and hope, enduring the pain until they can no longer resist or cry out for salvation, regardless of its source. Among his worshippers, Nurgle is sometimes seen as a benevolent grandfather figure, despite the horrors he embodies. They believe he is seldom unkind to those who implore him, and that beneath his grotesque exterior lies a caring entity, offering a grim kind of mercy in a universe overwhelmed by decay and despair. Within his corrupt domain, the followers of Nurgle willingly become vessels for his most grotesque afflictions. In their desperate bid to survive his touch, they absorb what would otherwise destroy them, transforming into twisted embodiments of decay and vitality. This grim bargain grants them a perverse resilience and a sinister sense of vitality as they embrace the unholy power that floods through them. Each mortal who makes this pact acts as a living conduit for Nurgle's pervasive contagion, further amplifying his dark influence. To serve Nurgle is truly to embrace madness. His devotees reverence disease and mutation, qualities that instinctively repel most. Despite their repulsion, they spread his plagues beyond their own ranks, reaching even those they once sought to protect, such as comrades or loyal friends, believing they share in Nurgle's boundless generosity. The most zealous followers understand that, even amid the destruction wrought by decay, new life emerges in the form of parasitic worms, grotesque fungi clouds, or swarms of flies as dense as storm clouds. Mutant strains and bacteria, spawned by rot, flourish wherever Nurgle's influence is felt. The realm of Nurgle within the warp is depicted as a decaying, maggot-infested wasteland, a place spoken of in dark codices and forbidden tomes. Many mystics and heretics claim to have glimpsed this toxic netherworld, often describing it as the garden of Nurgle's creation. Though human language cannot fully capture its true essence, descriptions evoke churning marshes thick with venomous reeds, forests of fungal growths, and trees bulging with maggots and festering fungi. These landscapes are fertilized by rotting corpses, and plague demons wander freely through the cursed wilds. Ideally, Nurgle's demons remain confined within their metaphysical garden. Yet, wherever the grandfather's power intensifies amid epidemics and misery, his legions spill into the material realm like festering pus oozing from a wound. They come in crooked, shambling masses, banners fluttering beneath pestilent winds that carry discordant bell tolls and mucus-choked voices. In the daylight, the land itself turns jaundiced and rotten, with waters thickening into toxic sludge. Flora, fauna, and even soldiers swell and rupture with septic pus and crawling maggots, embodying the purest effects of Nurgle's corrupt touch. Contending with Nurgle's forces means immersing oneself in relentless corruption. Weapons rust in hands already weakened by fever, and the body is racked by sickness. To fight these followers is to face a world where decay is all-consuming, and survival is a struggle against endless rot and affliction. Amidst chaos and decay, a relentless wave of horror crashes forward, blurring the line between nightmare and reality. Encroaching demons, like a turbulent tide, mingle with swarms of drowning flies and rising mists, forcing once resilient defenders to their knees. Those brave enough to stand and resist face a grotesque onslaught, warped, diseased monstrosities whose rotting flesh makes them nearly impossible to vanquish. Swarms of tiny, mischievous plague mites crawl beneath the feet of the suffering, burrowing into limbs and contributing to the heaps of corrupted flesh that pile up around victims. At the front, ranks of plague carriers shuffle onward, slumped, foul, and bloated, bearing the marks of Nurgle's corrupt influence. With a single eye and a crooked horn, these warriors embody decay, recounting Nurgle's myriad afflictions as they wield sword and blade smeared with toxic disease. From the skies descend flying pests, hulking grotesque demons that attack with saliva-dripping mouths and filthy stings, their shadows filled with the sickening presence of Nurgle's followers. Masses of slug-like creatures with toxic tentacles churn through the chaos, their secretions causing paralysis and sickness. These relentless beasts leave destruction in their wake, crushed, rotting, and broken. Overall, a sinister mirth echoes, reeking of decay and corruption, as the grandees of Nurgle emerge. These towering, diseased figures, resembling their master, oversee the legion of pestilence with grim pride. Cloaked in foul flesh, they dispatch foes with corrupt magic, brutal blows, and streams of noxious vomit. Such toxins can shatter armor or drown entire squads in vile filth, leaving destruction in their wake. No creature bound by the natural order is immune to desire, be it physical, mental, or spiritual. The pursuit of fulfillment is innate, often guiding beings toward purpose and meaning. Yet, unchecked longing can morph into obsession, degradation, and excess, all fertile ground for the dark powers. This is how the seeds of Slaanesh's influence are sown, especially among cannibal tribes. Known as the Feast-Bringer, Slaanesh is depicted as a voracious maw, vast as a canyon, whose insatiable hunger for flesh can never be sated. His name resonates as a dissonant cacophony, amplified by organic devices resembling parasites that infest those who worship him. Traitorous legions such as the Toso, view him as a cruel mirror of their own insatiable desires, mutilating themselves in grotesque acts of devotion. For the Alari remnants, Slaanesh is both a cursed creation and an eternal punishment, a reflection of their civilization's descent into decadent chaos. Dubbed the Dark Prince, Lord of Excess, or the Perfect One, countless names echo across the galaxy, each representing a different obsession or perversion. Ultimately, the true essence of Slaanesh's influence transcends titles, regardless of how he is perceived, an eternal testament to the seductive power of want and weakness in all beings. In the shadowy realm of chaos gods, a dark deity holds sway, revered by followers who perceive him in their unique ways. Slaanesh, the Lord of Excess and Desire, is often seen as the least overtly powerful among the quartet of chaos gods, yet his influence is far more subtle and insidious. His strength lies in exploiting the fundamental needs and cravings of mortals, transforming them into obsessions that feed his dark dominion. This entity's corrupting touch extends into every aspect of mortal ambition, making it possible for Slaanesh to draw power even from actions seemingly dedicated to rival gods. For example, a gladiator wielding a murderous blade might appear to serve Korn, the god of rage and bloodshed. However, her relentless pursuit of perfection, pride in her victories, and craving for recognition serve to unwittingly strengthen Slaanesh's influence. Similarly, a cunning noble seeking dominance through intricate schemes might seem aligned with Zincht, the god of change and knowledge. Yet his obsession with opulence and his desire to entrap rivals in ever more elaborate plots empower the Dark Prince as well. Even the most innocent human desires, be it a laborer's hunger or a twisted killer's need to inflict suffering, increase Slaanesh's might when pursued beyond limits. In the grim future of the 41st millennium, these energies surge like an unstoppable tide. The demons of Slaanesh are incarnations of dark contradictions. They embody the most desperate hedonistic cravings, yet also evoke revulsion and primal horror when these obsessions turn into nightmares. These beings are terrifyingly beautiful, elegant, beguiling, and mesmerizing, capable of entrancing mortals with their impossible forms and intoxicating presence. The first signs of their arrival often begin with haunting melodies, half-heard, alluring music carried on a delicate, scented breeze. As the sounds deepen and senses become overwhelmed, a wave of unease infiltrates the heart of mortals. Subtle fragrances blend with the scent of spilled blood, sweat, and vomit, creating a confusing mixture of pleasure and repulsion. The melodies clash with wailing voices and whispering temptations, disturbing the mind and body alike. At this point, mortals may feel their pulses quicken, their skin prickle with contradictory sensations of pain and pleasure. Foreshadowing the demon's presence might be faint, yet unmistakable, a strange harmony of music and scent that hints at darker, more primal truths beneath the seductive facade. As the influence deepens, thoughts drift into dark desires or slip into a numb state of bliss. Their speech becomes slurred, their movements sluggish, and their nerves dulled, as even the brightest daylight turns harsh and glaring. In this age of chaos, the seductive nature of these dark entities leaves many spellbound, unable to resist their allure. Their arrival signals a shift into a realm where obsession and temptation reign, often leaving mortals trapped in a dangerous dance with their own deepest, most forbidden urges. Amidst swirling illusions of prismatic hues, ranging from fierce, unnatural brightness to the ominous shades of a fresh bruise, voices whisper and slither through communication networks, weaving an unsettling chorus of temptation, threats, and coaxing. A gentle breath seems to caress the napes of warriors' necks, while delicate touches trail inside their sealed armor suits, evoking shivers despite their defenses. Above, the sky transforms into shifting shapes, half recognizable and eerie. Caught in a liminal space between ecstasy and agony, the ground begins to tremble as those unable to escape cry out in frantic whispers, their prayers muffled by the monumental tension that grips the world, holding its breath in tense anticipation. Then, from the depths of nightmare, the demons of Slaanesh emerge, violent ruptures in reality that tear apart the fabric of the world like silken draperies cut by razor blades. They scatter shimmering, perfumed gore as their sinuous forms surge forward, shrieking discordant cries of unholy ecstasy. These fiends, part insect, part humanoid, writhe in a musk that confuses the mind and ensnares the soul. They loom over helpless prey who often collapse to their knees, sobbing in horror that strangely mingles with twisted delight as claws and talons descend upon them. Behind these grotesque entities, packs of demonettes, sleek, seductive monsters, dance with insatiable hunger burning in their eyes. Each stroke of a demonette's claw feels like a deadly caress, their screams of joy capable of shattering souls with a single sound. Some of these demonesses ride swift, bizarre steeds or grotesquely adorned chariots, curving, blade-bristling marvels that grind and clang as they thunder forward. Driven beyond sanity, mortals sometimes hurl themselves before these chariots, their fate sealed as they embrace their ghastly end. Those who resist face staggering resilience. These deadly engines of destruction shimmer even through the fiercest flames, moving faster than the swiftest bikes as the slaughter intensifies. In the chaos, some demons torment their prey with cursed music played on instruments made from living, contorted beings, while others wield dark warp magics that twist and corrupt or incite wild rampages of cannibalistic fury. Such violence often results in destruction from within, as victims turn on themselves in madness. Amidst this chaos, the keepers of secrets, demonic beings of supreme power, stand apart as the true leaders of Slenish's legions. These champions and generals manipulate events subtly, possessing those susceptible, whether planetary governors, chapter masters, revered preachers, or artists, whose influence or faith makes them ideal vessels for chaos. In this theater of insanity and excess, the demons reign supreme, their influence spreading through both force and cunning, sowing chaos in every corner of existence. Such entities serve as potent instruments to sway entire populations toward ruin, yet the most harrowing are the secret bearers who reveal themselves in the chaos of battle. These elusive figures emerge on the torn terrains of conflict, driven by an insatiable craving, and often surrender themselves to the demon's onslaught. Some allow themselves to be overwhelmed with ruthless elegance, their bodies crushed beneath talons and hooves, while others, overwhelmed by the demon's alluring yet impossible beauty, become so consumed with shame and desire that their hearts break within them. The secret keepers move through the chaos with uncanny grace, every motion fluid and precise, striking with enough force to shatter even the strongest armor. Their dark arts can twist the most loyal soldiers into frantic defectors or eliminate enemies with a barrage of exquisite yet tormenting pleasure, so refined that it ignites agonizing flames within flesh and nerve. Under these terrible entities' influence, the demon legions of Slaanesh leave battlefields littered with twisted, tortured remains, their faces distorted by terror and ecstasy combined, a testament to the unimaginable cruelty and seductive power of these harbingers.